we are going to talk about the best and worst exercises for each muscle group. Best exercise for biceps is going to be single arm cable curl. Why? Because you can use one arm instead of using both, which means you can focus harder on one arm than if you're doing both. Also, there's gonna be less strain just like on your heart and stuff. So imagine you're working out two muscles, but your heart has to pump air and blood and blah, through both of them. Whereas if you're just working one, you can push harder on that one. So it's gonna be single arm bicep curl, then also single arm hammer curls. Why? Because in the bicep curls, you're gonna be able to get more of that stretch and do more of like the short head. So if you look at my bicep here, while my hand is like this, I'm doing more short head, just the way it's contracted. And when the second I switch like this, do you see how my bicep is moved? That's gonna be more of the long head because the bicep has two parts, the short head and the long head. And you can also do single arm cuffed, which a cuff is even better because then it's on here and you're not even using your forearm to hold it. So those are gonna be the best for biceps. For triceps, it's going to be single arm tricep extension. So on a cable. Why? Constant tension. And then also it's just, you're gonna have way better control, way more stability, and you can really isolate the muscle better. As well as it's so easy to progress because who's single arm tricep extensioning a whole stack? Do you know what I mean? Compared to like other exercises where you might have to load more and it could be more risk of injury, etc. Another thing is JM press. Why JM press? It really kind of just fucks up the whole tricep, which is great. We do want some compounds here and there, and it's just one of my favorite movements. It works really well. I don't feel any joint pain or anything like that, so that's really good. Also, overhead extension to bias the other head of the tricep because there's three heads. That is amazing. For the worst bicep exercises, I'm going to say straight bar curl, just standing up with those really fat grip bars. Why? The fat grip bars make your forearms have to work harder, so you can't isolate the bicep as well. You're using more stuff on them, more energy and whatnot on your forearms than your biceps. Another thing about those bars is that usually they go up in 5 kilos, so you're more likely to get injured because you can't go up more slowly. You can't like add little 1.25 kilo plates, etc. Also, because the bar is so straight, a lot of time it puts a lot of strain on your wrists. And if you damage your wrists and if you get injured, not really great for muscle growth. When it comes to tricep exercises, I'm gonna say probably that when people hold a plate in the bench press like this, they say that's a chest exercise or a tricep exercise. Horrible. Don't do either one because there's absolutely no point. And then I'm also gonna say dumbbell tricep extensions while you're sitting on a bench or something. Why? Because you're unstable. You need to have something against your back if you're gonna do it. It's also a lot of strain on your joints and it's probably gonna lead to injury. So yeah, we've done biceps and we've done triceps. Okay, now for back. One of the exercises that isn't horrible, right? But people don't actually even know what they're targeting is going to be the lat pull down. It's not horrible. It's just kind of hard to target the lats a lot of the time because you might end up doing a little bit of upper back and stuff like that. Number one. Number two, barbell rows. Not one of the best movements. Why? Because think about all the other muscles that are trying to work to keep you up and in the position of doing a barbell row while you're trying to prioritize your back. Not great. Good exercises for your back is going to be single arm lat pull down or some type of lat pull down where instead of it being straight above you, it's from the side and you're pulling down. That is great. Maybe like a pull over as well if you're able to actually maybe put something on your elbow so that you're not actually gripping and accidentally using your biceps. Make sure you use wraps on everything you do. And that way it's kind of, you're just pulling from your elbow down. So you don't have to use your biceps, but you can use your lats. So like here, right now, I'm pulling down, but my biceps aren't contracting. This whole time here, my biceps not contracting, but my lats are. But then let's say you're using your hands, this is what's gonna happen. You see how my bicep was contracting, but when I was doing it before, my lats were still contracting, but my bicep wasn't. So isolating the muscle better is great. But you're saying, you're gonna be hearing about, but I wanna do some type of compound movement. Seated chest supported row is gonna be one of the best exercises you can do for back. Seated chest supported row is amazing. You can get really good stretch. You can load that to the max and it's going to be actually isolating your back as much as possible, as well as if you are able to do it single arm, even better, because then you can isolate one part of your back and push even harder on one part of your back. Another thing is maybe a single arm pull down or a single arm, I don't know if you know, but I really love doing single arm stuff. Also, it's very good to like actually keep your muscles even because sometimes you'll end up pushing harder or pulling harder or extending harder with one muscle than the other. Now, when it comes to legs, leg extensions are amazing, especially if you get one of those where you can push the seats back and stretch the muscle even more. That is amazing. Leg press, great. What else is really, really good for legs? RDLs. And you're gonna be like, but it's a compound. RDLs are really quite good as long as you keep your form very straight. The second you go off, so RDLs can be a horrible movement and it can be a really good movement depending on how straight you are able to keep your form. You do it wrong, you could dislocate your spine. It's a joke, don't take it seriously, but you could really hurt yourself. If you do it right, it's really great, but it will also fatigue your lower back. Now, what can you do to make sure you fatigue your lower back less? You could do laying down hamstring curls or seated hamstring curls to isolate that muscle better. In terms of absolutely horrendous exercise I'd never do for legs, walking lunges. Oh, but my stabilizer muscles. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you do walking lunges, you're more likely to lose balance and fall over and then injure yourself in that type of way than actually gain enough muscle to where it's worth it. Yeah, walking lunges with like dumbbells are really not a great exercise for legs. I used to do them consistently, but I just found way better results, and it just works way better when you're able to actually control what you're doing, even if it's a compound movement. Don't think I hate on compound movements. I love compound movements. I'm a firm believer in hack squat and belt squat. Yeah, those are also really good exercises. Now, when it comes to shoulders, what exercises are amazing? Okay, when it comes to front delts, shoulder press is pretty good, but you're probably going to be getting a little bit of triceps. Not a lot, but probably a little bit. What can you do instead? Some type of fly or cable movement where your arm is stretched out, maybe even with a cuff. And to do that, because your actual front delt will contract from here to here when you move your arm up. And then when it goes down, it'll be stretched. So sometimes I'll grab a dumbbell and I'll do this, or a cable. And if you do this right now in your home, you can literally put your hand here and feel the muscle contract. So that's great. In terms of lateral delt, don't do this, where people take the bar and they put it up. It's not great, and you're very likely to injure yourself or damage your rotator cuff. I would recommend doing single arm lateral raises. You can do this with the cables, but I've recently been doing it with the dumbbells. And I used to do it with the cables a lot. Like my thing was always the cables. But I switched to single arm lateral raises with a dumbbell where I'm bracing against a bench and doing this. I'm probably lat raising around 18 kilos. I did 18, I could probably do around 20 kilos for about 8 reps, which is quite nice considering how small I am, like in terms of leanness and whatnot. For rear delt, I'm very much just going to recommend a type of cable rear delt fly. That's going to be kind of the best thing. When you do any exercise where you kind of go like this and you see that your elbow is bending, you're probably going to end up using your bicep. So when you're doing a fly, if everything stays locked the whole way through and the only thing moving is going to be your rear delt, then it's going to target your rear delt. But the second you start doing a movement and your arm starts bending like this, so you're pulling like you're doing baseballs with the cable, you're bending this joint, which means that your biceps will be working because you're pulling. Because the second you do this, you're using your biceps. But when you keep it locked, right, they may be flexed, but they're not being used as much as it would be. And also, you're probably going to be using a little bit of bicep, a little bit of tricep, keep your arm locked, rather than completely destroying your biceps. And then that means that most of the force is going to go, most of the blood flow is going to go to your rear delts. So you're going to be able to isolate them even better. In terms of chest, some of the best exercises you can do for chest, I'm going to say it's going to be a machine press. Why? Constant tension, and you can load that. You can load it like crazy. You're also very, very supported because you're in the machine, and you're also just going to be able to get kind of a good stretch, but also be able to push heavy. Only drawback with this is going to be that it's hard to progress because certain machines will max out really quick. If you can get a gym pin, use a gym pin. If you can't, maybe try find a heavier press. If there's nothing you can do, go to a Smith machine and use a Smith machine, because then you can load as many places you want on there. But remember, keep your form really good, push hard, and it'll be great. What's really bad for chest? Again, that disc exercise, please never do that ever. That's gonna be absolutely horrible for chest, as well as anything where you're not really being as supported. So people do a lot of cable flies, right? If you're doing cable flies and you're standing up and you're leaning into it, which I used to do a lot, and you're doing that, think about how much you're using in terms of energy to keep yourself up and leaned in the right position. And then think about your front delts that are going to be getting absolutely fried. And then also the fact your arms have to stay locked so you can do it properly. And then if your arms bend or extend at any point, you're going to be using those muscles, the biceps, the triceps, your forearms, etc. I do not recommend those. Anything where you feel like you're going to be able to be kind of locked in a position and just push as hard as you can, that's going to be the best. Have I missed anything? Abs. Cable crunches. Do not do planks. Planks are going to be horrible for your abs, for growing your abs, in comparison to weighted crunches or weighted leg raises. This is a very quick one. I spoke very fast. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm a busy guy at the moment, but content has been decently consistent and it will stay consistent, hopefully for as long as possible. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. Let me know your opinions. I go live on TikTok a lot. I post pretty much every day on Instagram, and I post on here at least once or twice a week. I'm really trying to make more information for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, post notifications, add me on Snapchat. I sometimes post on there.